Andy, my dude, have you heard of the magical website builder known as Squarespace?
Ugh, not another Squarespace ad. I feel like every podcast is sponsored by them.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Yes, okay, it is overhyped, but actually it lives up to the hype. Squarespace is like a website fairy godmother. With a click of a button, your site transforms into a beautiful masterpiece.
A website fairy godmother? That sounds interesting. What makes it so magical?
Well, for starters, those slick templates make anyone look like a professional web designer. Pick one, customize the colors and fonts to match your brand, and voila. Plus, the drag and drop fluid engine is so easy, your grandma could build a site on Squarespace.
Well, she did knit me a lovely scarf last Christmas. Maybe website design is next.
Exactly. And when you're ready to sell your Nana's handmade scarves online, Squarespace has built-in e-commerce. Add a store with one click. Get flexible payment options. Then watch those sales roll in. And when she wants to teach others her steezy scarf skills, Squarespace's new courses feature is just the ticket. Nana can set up her curriculum and enrollments and payments in a snap and become the next e-knitting influencer.
Oh, wow, you really sold me with the grandma angle. Sign me up for that free trial.
Just go to thenextreel.com/Squarespace and transform your site into a beautiful Squarespace masterpiece.
Well, thanks, Pete. Even though it's overhyped, Squarespace actually sounds perfect for Nana's site's needs. Appreciate the warning on the ads, though. I'll brace myself next time I listen to a podcast.
Anytime. Let me know if you need any help getting that site up and running. Andy, can you believe we've almost hit 700 episodes of The Next Reel?
I know, it's crazy. And with all the other episodes in our family of podcasts, we are well over 1,200 episodes of movie conversation. It's really pretty amazing that we've gotten to have these in-depth movie chats every week for over a decade now.
And we couldn't have done it without our loyal community of film fans. Their support over the years has meant so much.
For sure. That reminds me, we should give the merch store a shout out. Buying shirts from thenextreel.com/merch is a great way listeners can continue to support the show. Plus, they get to sport our great designs.
Absolutely. I think sometimes folks forget we have a variety of shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more available. In fact, a great place to start is with a shirt sporting the Next Reel's logo.
We also have that classic Fast Times Spicoli Surf School tee, or the weirdly popular Rusty's European Tour shirt.
The one from National Lampoon's European Vacation. Why is that so popular?
Search me, but we have sold a ridiculous number of those. I guess there are a lot of Rustys taking trips to Europe?
We're always adding new designs based on movies we've covered, like our brand new design for a streetcar named Desire, featuring a streetcar named Desire. So if you want to rep your love of TNR and films, head to thenextreel.com/merch.
Every purchase helps us continue to have these weekly in-depth conversations. So visit thenextreel.com/merch today.
And as always, thanks for listening and being a part of the Next Reel community. We've got lots more great movie chats coming your way. I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
In just a matter of seconds, you're going to hear a classic episode of this show from back in the day when we called ourselves Movies We Like.
It took us a while to settle into the show's format, so you'll notice some differences as you listen to these episodes. For instance, it takes us a bit of time to actually get into the conversation about the movie. Things like that.
But we're still proud of the conversations about the movies themselves, and we think they're worth keeping in the library.
So enjoy these episodes from our back catalog. And you can become part of our Discord community, learn more about the show, and find out how you can become a supporting member at thenextreel.com.
So thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to The Next Reel. We appreciate your time and attention, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Pete?
I saw Kung Fu Panda 3 today. I hadn't yet. You've seen it.
No, it's been out for like weeks.
I know. What? Just bite me, right? I'm just saying it took me a little while to get the kids and be able to go see. I don't see that by myself, that movie. I have to take excuses. And my excuses weren't available until today.
Yes, you do.
Jeez.
Sometimes it's better to bring your excuses with you for films.
This was, I was looking forward to a not good film, and we had a really good time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it was fun, super fun.
I don't think either of them have lived up to the first film, but it was still fun.
Yeah, still super fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, and it was jam packed. Theater was full. We sat in the third row.
This President's Day holiday.
It's a National Cinema Day.
I think that's what they should start calling it.
Everybody goes to the movies, to the picture shows.
Except for me.
Because you were making them. You were making movies today. You feeling good?
I'm exhausted.
No, so not good.
Yeah. But you know what I did see?
Tell me.
And that kept me from not being exhausted? Deadpool. Hello, yes. I contributed to its incredible opening weekend.
Okay, what did you think?
It was me that helped get
push
it across
it
that
over.
bar.
If there was a top to be pushed over, you're the guy who made that happen.
It was me.
What'd you think?
It was me. I had a great time.
You did?
I had a lot of fun.
Got some stinky reviews.
It was just fun. It was just pure enjoyment. I had a blast. Ryan Reynolds was clearly having a blast making it.
Did you wear the brown pants?
I didn't need to wear the brown pants.
I would wear the brown pants.
I did wear the judgmental pants because there were people who brought young children to it, and I silently judged them the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I felt uncomfortable for their children in some of the scenes.
Well, that's like me taking my daughter to Kingsman.
No.
So there will be no stones cast from me, but I do see your point.
Yes. It was just like, I was like, this is like a 6-year-old child sitting right in front of me, and I'm watching a stripper scene. I feel awful. So thanks for that, fella.
Parents. Well, I'm glad it did well. I did not. I haven't seen it yet, which is so bad because I'm really, really looking forward to it. But I had finals to grade this weekend, and it was just bananas.
Well, I've got to say, stay after the credits.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those where it actually doesn't matter if you really see it or not, but for people of our generation, it really worked.
All right. It's not Howard the Duck again, right?
It's not Howard the Duck.
All right. I introduced just last night. I introduced my children. Well, one of my children to my favorite X-Men movie.
Oh.
You know which one that is, right?
Let me guess. Your favorite X-Men movie must be Wolverine.
What?
No? Is it The Wolverine?
No. Why would you do that? No.
Well, I don't know that many X-Men movies. Just X-Men?
No, it is not just X-Men.
X2?
X2. That is the best one.
Had you shown them any of the others, or you just started with X2? I'm judging.
I sense some judgment. I'm feeling like this is not a safe space. I will tell you, they have already seen X-Men 1. Actually, my daughter has seen most of them, only due to timing has she not seen all of them yet. But my son had never seen X2, and so we watched X2. And it's one of those great moments that I really enjoy that movie so very much. And so did he. So that was a real treat. I'm savoring these. Like, I have this list of movies that I just can't wait to put on and then stare at him while he's staring at the screen.
One of the best parts of Deadpool is the meta nature of it.
Yeah.
And at one point, Deadpool, when he's talking to, I think, Colossus, who wants to take him to Xavier's school, says, "Is that McAvoy or Stewart?"
That's really good.
It was great.
That's really good. I can see that working.
It worked on a lot of great levels. That was just constant fun.
Well, I've gotten a number of emails that we just got an email from a friend of the show and colleague, artist Joel Micah Harris wrote in and said, "Hey, go see Deadpool." That he saw it and he liked it. And he's a purist, and so I'm surprised that he wrote in with a favorable review. But. So he did. So that's it. Now you and Joel and others, I have to go see it, of course.
You'd need to, yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because I'm spoiling it for you next week if you haven't seen it.
You are? Oh, okay. Gauntlet has been thrown.
That's right.
We have. Do we have any follow-up? Do we have some follow-up we need to share? We got an email.
Yes.
We got. Speaking of email, checking in from the frontier.
Oh, yeah. Good old Matthew Medrano.
We'd missed him. He went silent for so long.
We had, and it turns out that he was motivated to kick it into high gear with his screenplay. So that's exciting.
Congratulations, Matthew. Keep it up. We know you can do it. I'm so glad to hear that you've gotten back back in the saddle, as they say on the frontier, and are still plugging away. We want to keep up with the updates. We love hearing you.
Absolutely, we do care.
And I think is there anything else? Or are
Nope.
we ready to tell the people where we're from?
Where are we from, Pete?
This is The Next Reel on rashpixel.fm, everybody. I'm Pete Wright, and that over there is Andy Nelson.
Hey.
And we spoil movies. Tonight on the show, the third in our series on great films and their remakes with Andrew Lau's Hong Kong gang thriller, Infernal Affairs. Before we get into that, you should learn more about us at thenextreel.com. Subscribe to the show on iTunes or follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Next Reel. And if you think one of the most comfy places to sack out is your shrink's office, it sounds like you need a prescription for The Next Reel's Instagram, #PonyPrize, #GuessTheMovieChallenge.
And with that, let's join Stephen Smart, who it turns out has infiltrated our gang, but is really an undercover Scottish policeman, to find out who won.
Hey guys. Last week we stepped back to the 50s with Western Johnny Guitar from 1954, directed by Nicholas Ray and starring a magnificent Joan Crawford. Congrats to @CottonScience who guessed it on Image 2. You're entered into the 2016 Pony Prize hat. As always, a new challenge starts on Monday, so thanks guys and see you later.
We got a little follow-up from friend of the show, Ben Lott with the Blot Spot.
Yes, Ben writes in and says, "You guys hit all the points I would make about Outland. I enjoyed it, even though it was more fun than High Noon. I liked the look of the base, and I understood the logic of how the place was set up. The final showdown was a bit anticlimactic in points because I didn't feel the risk that Sean Connery was facing. He seemed very in control of the situation. Reflecting on it now, I'm also annoyed because by leaving, the corporation will just start its drug trade all over. Still, the film was fun, and I would watch it again. Your rank 135, my rank 130.
Because Ben Lott is law-abiding. That's the important takeaway. I love that's... Of course, they're just going to do it again. Send another Connery.
Didn't we learn that in Alien 1, 2, 3, and 4? The corporation just keeps on coming.
Always wins. Corporation always wins.
The Big Short, too. All of this. It just proves you can't fight the corporation.
You can't fight the corporation. I also, look, Final Showdown, anticlimactic, because why, Andy? Boxing in spacesuits is dumb. It's just still dumb. Just dumb. Still, we're pretty close on that rank. Feels good.
Yes, indeed.
I think it's time. Let's do trailers.
So my trailer, Pete?
Yes.
It's called Criminal.
Mm-hmm.
It
sounds like a spoiler of a title.
It does. It's got a slew of actors who have been in superhero movies, but it's not a superhero movie.
No one is super in this movie. Not a single one.
I don't know. There's some funky sci-fi sort of implant stuff going on here. Memory implant. It's like, is it kind of a Blade Runner-y sort of thing? What's going on here? You got Kevin Costner, your favorite, who gets Ryan Reynolds implanted in his head. Hasn't
Ryan Reynolds done this before recently?
Yeah,
he was just in the movie that did this.
He was with Gandhi.
Yeah, with Gandhi. It's
a totally different movie.
Ryan Reynolds switched places with Gandhi.
And but this one, yeah. So Kevin Costner, who is a criminal, he's a bad criminal. And we clearly think that he's just a terrible, terrible person. at the level, it seems, of a superhero, but not quite. Or supervillain, I really should say. And then Ryan Reynolds is so good that it teaches Kevin Costner to be good. And he helps the good guys, it seems, while falling in love with Ryan Reynolds' widow.
Because this is Ryan Reynolds' karma film. He had to balance the universe.
It's something. It's something. But yeah, it's got Kevin Costner. It's got Gal Gadot.
Wonder Woman.
She pops up as the love interest. It's got good old Commissioner Gordon himself.
Yep. Yeah.
We like him.
Yeah. The commission.
And Tommy Lee Jones.
A little fugitive.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of everything. I don't really know what to say about this film. I guess it piques my curiosity. It's one of those, I don't know, it looks kind of like a sci-fi criminal thriller, but the trailer kind of makes it seem like it's more of a drama. I really don't know how to read it. I think that it could be just a big old mess. I think it could actually be something I enjoy quite a bit. I don't know. I'm curious to see how this one plays out. I won't say right now that I'm committing to seeing it, but I am saying that I'm committed to being interested in it.
Well,
how's that work?
Aren't you a promise ring?
Yes, put me on your finger, Pete.
I'm with you. I'm puzzled by it. I think I was really interested when it was, sci-fi fugitive face-off, and then when it became Ghost, I got a little bit less interested. It kind of
right, just waiting for them to make some pottery together.
Yeah, I was waiting for pottery. Yeah, they stuck your husband in my head. It was just a little too much beaches, and so I needed to. I don't know that I was. I don't know what to say about that, but there were enough explosions and missiles and things that I feel like I'd be willing to give this one a shot. What are you gonna do? It's out there. I might as well see it.
Might as well. It looks kind of interesting. So I'm curious to see how this one plays out. I'm curious to see if they release another trailer that takes away some of the dramatic tone to it and gives me a little bit more of the action thriller. Because I feel like it could use a little bit of that. I think Michael Pitt's in it playing maybe the baddie, but it's kind of hard to tell because there's so much time pining for lost loves.
Yeah, that's always the problem. That's always the problem when you pine for the lost loves. Just screws everything up.
Ariel Vroman is directing it. He recently did The Iceman, which I didn't see, but it looked like an interesting one. Did you end up seeing that one with Michael Shannon playing the hitman?
I did not. This was Franco was in this, and Leota, and Chris Evans. I didn't see this. I should have.
No?
I didn't see it.
What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, it was Chris Evans and Ray Liotta and Winona Ryder, Michael Shannon, yeah. So, this, I don't know much about Ariel, but I thought The Iceman looked really interesting. This one piques my curiosity, so it's kind of on that level. I say it looks interesting. I kind of want to see it. I'll kind of, the jury's out if I'm going to or not. It ends up coming out April 15th, so just in time for taxes.
Excellent. I'll be first in line. My trailer, Andy.
Oh, dear.
Every 15, 20 years or so, the old Sutherland boys need to get back together, this Donald and Kiefer. And this time they're going west. With Forsaken. Forsaken. So we've got Kiefer and Don. It is according to IMDb, a brooding western about an embittered gunslinger who attempts to make amends with his estranged father whilst their community is besieged by ruthless land grabbers. So it's actually a modestly fictionalized rendition of the Sutherland home. It looks really fun to me. I think it's going to be it could be kind of a Deadwoody kind of a vibe to it. I feel like Kiefer Sutherland, this to me is, ever since Young Guns, this has been an environment and a setting that I have really liked him in, and it's either that or CTU. Like, that's pretty much it. Oh, and I also liked it when he killed all of his med school friends in that movie. Remember that one where they died and kept bringing each other back? I liked him in that too. But anyway, I think this looks really good. Everybody else in it is fantastic. So I'm already on the record. I love Kiefer and Don. Demi Moore is in this one. she looks like a grown-up. Like
She is a grown-up.
For
Pete.
reals. No, but she hasn't really looked like a grown-up as long as she's been. This one, she looks like a grown-up. Brian Cox is in this film. We love the Brian Cox. Michael Wincott is in this film. You know, Michael Wincott.
Alien Resurrection, baby.
Yes, you do. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Am I
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh.
The Crow. Yeah, I'm up on Michael Wincott. So there are lots of really great people. It looks like in this movie, this could be one of those films that is really fun to watch. So this could be a fun one. I don't know. Did it light you up at all?
No.
Not at all.
No, it just looked bad.
It does
I'm
not.
Sorry.
You are wrong.
It just looked so bad.
No, you're wrong. I didn't even say this is the reason. One of the reasons I'm excited about this is because John Cassar is director. He's done a lot of 24.
Uh-huh.
And because of my my love of 24, I give this one a pass. I'm blinded perhaps to it a little bit.
Well, he certainly has his experience both directing and producing that show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he's stepping into this blind.
No.
I don't know. Just the story itself just didn't intrigue me. It just didn't have the pieces to make it click, I didn't think. So I'm curious to see how this one does, but I kind of am expecting it to be a straight-to-video sort of thing.
It's not going to be a straight-to-video. It's got the Sutherlands. It's going to get a theatrical release. Absolutely it will. In fact, that will be February 19th, 2016.
Excellent.
Why you gotta hate?
No, it didn't. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
I'm not crazy about your response.
I'm sorry. I can't wait to see it.
February
19th?
Now it feels forced.
February 19th is going to be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
The day after this show goes live.
That's right.
And I'm going to be there, Pete.
I happen to know that you won't. Because of all the whining about how busy you are. Yeah, I'm so busy I can't go see Kiefer Sutherland movies.
That's true.
Andy.
Sorry, Kiefer. Yes, Pete.
What thousands must die so that Caesar may become the great?
10 years ago, two friends became the best cadets on the force. One went undercover to infiltrate the mob. The other is a highly respected officer, but his true loyalty belongs to the crime lord. Now, they're both out to uncover the traitor among them. They know he's dangerous. They know he's deadly. What they don't know is that they're hunting for each other.
Infernal Affairs, Andy. Infernal. Now, that may sound strange to you, but as every site describing this film will attest, including Wikipedia, that's actually wordplay. Infernal. It's wordplay combining the law enforcement term internal affairs with the adjective infernal.
Right. Because of hell.
Because of wordplay. That is a thing that didn't need to be explained. Do you think about this movie, Infernal Affairs? Do you think we needed to be explained?
No. Well, I do appreciate the actual translation to the real title.
The Unceasing Path.
Yeah, which I had no idea what all of that meant.
A reference to Avicii, the lowest level of hell in Buddhism, where one endures suffering incessantly. That I also appreciated. But the wordplay description, I could have done without. And not the only place that I discovered that, Wikipedia. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people who don't get things, Pete.
They shouldn't watch movies. Those people. Infernal Affairs came out in 2002. This is it's the story of two people. One is a criminal. He is embedded in the police. He is a rising star in the Hong Kong police, and the other is an undercover police officer who is embedded in the gang. And these two embeds or in a race to determine the identity of the traitors on their opposite sides. And so that's pretty much the setup. And I think I had not seen it. You had not seen it. I'm going to chalk this up as a pleasant surprise. Am I right?
I like that you call them embeds.
Did you? Well, that's kind of a modern
like
term.
empaths.
Yeah.
They're empaths. No, they're embeds.
It's an embed.
You don't say
That's a
moles
real
anymore.
thing.
You don't call them moles. They're embeds.
It's a real thing. It's the
Is it really?
Yes. That's what. Well, it comes from journalism, right? It is a modern term since we started embedding journalists on the front lines with military units. They're called embeds for short. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. She's an embed.
That's crazy.
It's not that crazy.
No, I didn't know it, so therefore it's crazy.
It's I'm gonna update Wikipedia.
So then the question is, are journalists moles? Or are we just calling them embeds?
You have a good point. I could probably be called on my use of the term in that context alone, because journalists hopefully are not generally playing the other side when they come home.
I sent it to the Washington Post, but I also sent it to the Chronicle.
Yeah, you get my point.
Yes.
They all wear long trench coats, and when they open them up, all you see are just front page of newspapers all pinned in. Psst. Hey, buddy, you need a story? Yeah. Can we get back to this movie, please?
Yeah, what path did we go down?
This is it's a gang thriller about finding your own inner unicorn, your special flower. It is good versus bad. It's the story of why do we even have sides? We're all interchangeable anyway. Did you like this movie?
Yes.
Good. Finally. I wish you would just come out and say this stuff.
I had to get this embed thing off my chest.
Freaking teeth.
I definitely like this. I mean, I love The Departed. I think that is such a great film, and I hadn't seen this before. So it was great to kind of go back to the original and check it out and see how the story was told from, I guess you could say across the pond. It's just going the other way. It's across the other pond. And I had a lot of fun. I love the speed. I mean, this one, The Departed definitely is a longer film. They really take time to develop a lot more character threads and just kind of do a lot more with the story. And I definitely appreciate that. I think I still may like it more. I'll be curious to see how it plays out on a viewing right after this one. But there's something about the speed at which this one is told and the way that it moves and some of the confrontations. It really had kind of a Hong Kong vibe going through it, and I really liked it.
You know, it's funny. It had a Hong Kong vibe to it, but not the Hong Kong vibe I expected. You know, I mean, when you look at the cover, when you look at the promotional material, you half expect it to end up being more of sort of a Jackie Chan, kind of early Jackie Chan, before he smiled all the time, you know. And it's not a martial arts film. It's not strictly that kind of an action movie. It's very much a thriller. It is very much it's much more cerebral, much more subdued. I think it asks much bigger questions than I expected of it, and I think there's a lot more going for it. I agree with you. I mean, I think ultimately, I appreciate The Departed more. I'm also interested in kind of how that's going to hit me after seeing this one. But wow, the purity of this story, the way it just drives straight home from beginning to end. You are in it with these two guys, and these two guys sell their respective roles perfectly, in my book.
Yeah, I think they both do such a great job. And I agree. I liked that this one really focused on just these two guys. We didn't get nearly as much of the guys they work with. We didn't get nearly as much of the women in their lives. It really was a story about these two guys and just kind of the battle they felt or they fought trying to deal with the life as a mole for a really long time. The title, The Unceasing Path, this kind of level of hell where you just suffer forever, it really fits kind of the story from that angle, as you watch these two guys really having to lead these double lives almost in a permanent state where, I mean, it's been well over 10 years and it's just rough, and you get to see that, and I love the way that they just played it.
The writers, Felix Chong and Alan Mack, their English names, they are one of the things that I think is really interesting about these guys is that they are both writers, directors, and actors, and I think that's much more of an Asian cinema vibe, right? You have these smaller, generally small teams come together, make a movie lower budget, and just get it out, and I think they end up having to be really generalists in terms of their roles. But when you look at the script, it feels like it was written by people who understand what they're working with in terms of the raw material of these guys, because this is not a story that is told through lines on the page. It is told very much through the faces and the movements of these two central characters. And I think that the script for me was structured in such a way, not just in terms of pacing, but it was structured in such a way that it really showcased the raw material of these incredible actors on screen. Am I missing anything there?
No, I think that sums it up pretty nicely. I mean, it's interesting. I think one of the strengths of the Scorsese, I mean, like I said, I really do like that this really focuses on these two guys. I do like the stronger female character in The Departed. I think there's a great strength to having that character and how she's kind of interconnected between these two guys. That's a nice twist in that film. This one, if there's any issue I have, it's that the women characters just feel so flimsy.
Well, I was going to say that's almost a separate topic, because it's not just that they're flimsy, it's that you get so used to seeing that there are no women in screen that they've completely decided there are going to be no useful women in this movie. There are no useful roles for women in this movie. They're not going to be functional characters, that when you do see them, it is jarring. Right, when he has the moment on the bed where his wife is writing her, trying to end the story about how do you end a story when you don't know the character motive, or, the character's good or bad. That whole sequence is like, why am I even looking at that? Who is that person? Do I need to care about her? She's just, and then she's gone.
Well, and part of that, I think, that element of the script, that subtext playing in that was pretty on the nose stuff. It was right. Done in such a way that I'm like, oh, geez, could that be any more obvious?
So now you've introduced a character, a useless character, delivering something that was super obvious, again, deflating the utility of the character.
Yes.
Especially because the script already did a fine job of laying out the underlying sort of morality mechanics of the story. I don't think we were missing anything there.
That's, a hunch I have why they eliminated that girlfriend character from the story, and they had them both involved with the psychiatrist, because her character was more interesting. There was more of utility for her in the story, even if it wasn't done as well as it should have been. And then I will say the third woman in the story, it just perplexed me. I really couldn't figure out what they were trying to do with her. And this is... speaking of the different women, we had Sammy Cheng as Lao's girlfriend. We had Kelly Chen as the therapist, the psychiatrist, and then we had Elva Xiao come in as Mei, Chan's ex-girlfriend, who we meet.
This was on the street, right, where she
on the street,
see
right?
Her and her daughter.
He comes across her, and they meet, and there's this. She has this child, and there's this introduction to this child and this conversation about how old is the child and when they broke up. And there's almost this allusion to the fact that, because doesn't somebody say, oh, isn't your child so how old or whatever? And I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was like, are they trying to hint at the fact that this child was his and she didn't want to tell him?
Exactly. That was totally
what is
puzzling.
Yeah, it was a really puzzling element to the story. And I'm like, what were they trying to say here? And it never pays off. So that was something that I was just like, I wish there was a more understanding of that. And, it is what it is.
It felt like a remnant, It felt like a scene that they forgot to cut. because there was something that would have made it more material in an earlier edit, and they forgot to cut this one. I couldn't help but think that as we wrapped up the film.
Right.
Yeah. The direction, Andrew Lau and Alan Mack as co-directors.
Andrew Lau, not the
Andy
Lau.
No,
actor.
two different Lau, and not Lau, the character that Andy Lau was playing, being directed by Andrew Lau.
That's a lot of Lau.
3 different Laus.
Woo!
No, Andrew Lau as the director. And what do you think about old Andrew Lau, Wai Kung Lau?
You know, he is you look at his filmography, he is a cinematographer, director, producer, actor. He's kind of been a little bit of everything. I mean, he's all over the place. Most of his credits, interestingly, are as a cinematographer, which he did not. No, he did do the cinematography here. And, I thought the direction was nice. I thought the camera work was nice. I know they brought Christopher Doyle in to kind of be kind of a visual consultant, whatever that means. But I think that they found a nice look for it, and they had some of the stuff that I was kind of expecting from Hong Kong cinema, like, the standoffs and then the way the camera would move around a standoff, stuff like that. I liked the overall way the story played, and like I said, I really liked the speed. I think that there's something about the pace that I think that Andrew Lau found in the storytelling for this that worked.
One of the things I like so much about it is the incredible variety of styles showcased in this single film. I mean, it moves from, I'm thinking specifically of the sequence in the movie theater, right? I mean, we move from these all of the moles are in a darkened theater, right? They're having a meeting, one mole's following another mole, and they're wandering up and down this this long kind of mall in and out of the theater. And what I expect from that sequence is a very sort of mechanical, clean, intense, quick edit, quick shooting, moving camera. That's what I want. I want the alley chase, right, that I'm so used to getting from some of these, the compressed Hong Kong cinema. And what I end up getting is that, but I also get these beautiful kind of in and out soft focus transitions. I move straight into this a character's camera, right? So this becomes less of a chase sequence than it becomes a really intimate kind of survey of who these men are as the phones ring, and we're watching them, studying them on their phones, and watching one waiting for the other. I just think that the use of styles and the way he ends up moving in and out of the film and shaking focus a little bit ends up making it a much more interesting and kind of vibrant sort of survey of what he can do with the camera. I really liked it.
Well, and I think that some of that comes from Alan Mack, who, one of the co-writers and co-director, just having a good sense of how to tell the story, playing with the conventions that we were used to with Hong Kong, like, the alley chase and all that, like what you're expecting there, but then also turning that into kind of, something on its head where you've got the phone ringing and then you've got this kind of weird confrontation between the two, which isn't really a confrontation as they kind of one disappears and the other tries to track him down. I enjoyed the way they played with some of that. It was it made for a fun film with some unexpected moments. Okay,
so we've mentioned a couple of times these guys. These guys are Andy Lau and Tony Leung, playing the characters of Lau Qin-ming and Chan Wing-yan. I am butchering that, I'm sure. These are the moles. I know you're a big fan of Andy Lau and have been listening to him all day. He's also a singer, in addition to being an actor.
He is. Boy, is he ever, Pete.
It's Andy kind of Lau, bananas how much of a singer he is.
Yeah, he is one of what they call the 4 heavenly kings of Cantopop. Which was a big thing back in the 90s, I believe, when they just kept winning award after award. Lau is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most awards won by a Cantopop male artist. By April 2000, he had already won a total of an unprecedented amount of 292 awards. That was by April 2000. I don't even know where he is now. Not only that, man, but he has been working his butt off in the film industry since he started in 82. He's been doing an average of 4.6 movies a year.
87 credits as an actor.
No, it's way more than that. It's like I counted a list, and maybe that some of these are just movies that came out only in Hong Kong.
Not on IMDb.
158 is what I counted. That was just movies. That wasn't TV shows or anything else. Yeah, he is just like nonstop.
Now, Tony Leung is also a Cantopop singer, but he is not one of the four heavenly kings.
He is actually not a Cantopop singer. He is a C-pop singer.
Oh, is that not the same thing?
It is not. A C-pop singer is a Chinese popular music singer.
But not
Cantopop. Yeah.
But Cantopop is a subgenre of C-pop. There are three genres of C-pop. There's Cantopop, Mandopop, and Taiwanese pop.
Right.
So he's just a C-pop? He's not a member of the mini pops?
I guess that they don't list him as one of the more specific sub-genres of
Andy,
C-pop.
we must get to the bottom of this.
We must. Oh, my.
Anyway, so go on.
Yes, this movie is full of singers, Pete.
Full of them. Chock full of them.
Well, these two and the women. All of the women. Kelly Chen, she's a Hong Kong Cantopop singer and actress. She is the diva of Asia. Sammy Chang is a Hong Kong Cantopop singer and actress. And Elva Xiao is a Taiwanese singer.
Wow.
Yeah. They like their singers in this film for some reason.
They certainly do. And none of that detracts from the fact that they deliver fantastic performances, can I just say? Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Back to these two guys that we keep talking about, Andy Lau and Tony Leung. They play the counter moles, and as I mentioned before, so much of what it goes on screen is determined by their performance, and I found myself a little bit mystified from it because, as with many of the other films we have talked about that come from Asia, the actors in this film emote very differently than Western actors, and so sometimes it's hard to see what am I supposed to be feeling alongside this actor right now, right? They are stoic. I'm thinking in particular when Tony he comes out of the building after he and his boss are escaping the thugs that are storming the building after their secret.
We should say Tony is the cop who has infiltrated as the mole in the gang. Yeah.
As he walks, he runs out. He gets in the car. They drive around to the front. He gets in the cab, and the cab pulls around the front. And he gets out of the cab and starts walking into the door. Right as his boss falls 22 stories onto the car, his head oriented so it's upside down, but facing Tony, and the look on his face is it's at first it's so stoic. He could be thrilled. He could you don't know. You don't know what he's feeling.
Well, I think I think we saw a lot of that when we talked about In the Mood for Love. He has that same presence in the films, and I really enjoy watching Tony on screen. I think that he does have a lot of that kind of subtext that you can read in his expressions, and he doesn't have to say it. You can just kind of glean a lot from just looking at him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which works great for a character who's a mole who has to hide so much inside.
Yeah. Well, and it works great for both of these guys, Lau and Leung, because both of them are existing in this weird break in their own sort of morality time. They've both made choices to, they've made their team choices, and they now have to figure out a way how they're going to live with those choices. Because at first, when we are introduced to these characters, we get to see them as young people, and they're really not yet choosing a lifestyle, they're choosing an ideology. And at some point, that ideology turns into a lifestyle, and that's where we pick up for the balance of the film, as they have to make these choices. And we see Hans Mole, Lau, who is promoted from being just an inspector to actually working in internal affairs. He's the mole, and he's working in internal affairs to sniff out the mole. And we see Leung as the cop in the gang, and he is essentially promoted. He's the guy I trust the most, says the gang boss. So both of these guys excel in their fake jobs, and they are regarded highly in their fake jobs, and they start, you are forced to question, what is the purpose of a mole? What is our purpose in making these choices at all? And nowhere is that, I think, more apparent than when you see both teams across the long table. At the end of the first sequence, the big cocaine bust, where we actually see Han's triad and all of his guys behind him, and we see the chief inspector or superintendent Leung and all of his guys behind him, and they are first make each other aware that they have moles in their respective teams. They were interchangeable at that point. So I really like how they portray these two sort of sets of characters, and I think it's I think less than The Departed, or more than The Departed. It wears some of these morality questions right on its sleeve.
Yeah, and I think these are the actors to do it. I mean, I could really watch these two actors just in just scene after scene. They both play it so well, and they both work really well together.
Who else jumps out at you? We've already talked about the three women and the incredibly underwritten roles that were developed for them. Who else strikes you in the cast that you want to talk about?
Anthony Wong,
Superintendent Wong.
Yep, he is perhaps best known in the West for his roles in the 1992 action film Hard Boiled.
Yes,
and
indeed.
as he was General Yang in The Mummy: Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
That was not the best Mummy movie.
I didn't even see it, but I respect that they tried to do something different.
Yes.
So I give them that.
Heartily. Back to this movie.
Yes. But I mean, I really liked Anthony Wong. I thought that he brought that presence of being the one guy who really is kind of the friend to Tony Leung's character. I liked that that moment where he gives him the watch. I thought that there were some touching elements to this friendship that they had, and it was kind of really I think that helped a lot when he died, and when you got to see that expression on Tony's face.
Okay, and you got to talk more about why that was so crushing when we see Tony recognize that his boss has just fallen and died.
Well, I think the big thing is the fact that his boss is the only one who knows that he is actually the mole. And so now there's really kind of, other than this locked file that no one can access, nobody knows that he's a cop.
Yeah, that's not good for him.
That really sucks.
Really sucks for him.
Yeah.
Eric Tsang is Hon Sam, the triad boss.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Another entertainment king.
You know
really,
what,
yeah.
You know what this is like? It's like Richard Attenborough in Jurassic Park. That's what this is like.
It's like Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson, you're right.
Totally is like Richard Dawson from Running Man, because Eric Tsang is also a TV host in Hong Kong, China, and Taiwan, best known for hosting the variety show Super Trio series.
That's so good.
So it's like, having the TV show host as the villain.
Yeah, he was. I thought he actually did a great job, and especially if you do know that he's a game show host, man, he did a great job.
And I will say, I was a little concerned. I'm like, am I going to really be comparing him to Jack Nicholson this whole time? Because Jack Nicholson brings, a totally different thing to that character, especially as he's kind of, the Whitey Bulger.
Yeah,
Bulger.
Right.
Bulger?
Well, because then that was a history that they infused on the story.
Right. But it did give Nicholson a level of crazy to play, which, we already know he likes playing those levels of crazy. But Eric, I thought, really brought his own to it. And I really enjoyed watching him as this mob boss. The scene where he's eating the food and all the cops are sitting around there and he just knows, he's so smug, he knows he's going to get out. And he's got that great confrontation with Anthony Wong's character. And then he like knocks all the food off. I mean, I just totally dug him.
You know what's funny is that he struck me as crazy, but it was appropriately crazy, and it was more just a fit of just, I can't believe I'm surrounded by idiots, right? That was the experience that I had watching him. It was because he didn't bring a maniacal crazy. He brought kind of a business crazy. You know, he was just like, he just knew that this is the way his business works.
He never had to bring out a giant dildo.
He never did that.
Yes.
He wasn't nearly as crazy as the guys that came in from Thailand were in this movie with the cigars in the beginning. Those guys looked crazy.
Yes.
All right. Anybody else jump out at you in the cast that you really want to talk about it? For me, the top 4 characters on here really dominate the film for me, and I didn't notice as much. There was one of the goons, particularly the sequence where the 2 goons are talking, and I get all their names crazy. I think this may have been Crazy Kung.
Yep.
Where
about the cops?
Yes, they're everyone's cops.
Yeah,
they're all cops.
Crazy and another one.
Yeah, he says if they're looking at you, but they're pretending to be doing something else, they're cops. And then they look around. I thought this was such a brilliant comic moment. They look around and everybody in the neighborhood is doing something else and looking at them. And all they're doing is sitting there. And he says, see, man, they're all cops. They're all cops. I thought that was a riot.
Especially because he ends up being a cop.
Exactly. So you know what, I think it's important, as dumb as I think the English translation is of this thing, I actually think the title Avicii is probably worth at least looking at a little bit, because it's kind of a throwaway line to say it's the lowest level of hell in Buddhism. Chinese filmmakers rarely do throwaway things.
No, they don't really throw things away.
So what does it mean?
Well, I think what is fascinating about Avicii is that there are these acts that a person has to commit in order to end up at this level of hell, where it's eternal torture, basically. In order to get there, you generally have to commit one or more of the 5 grave offenses.
All right, give me number 1.
Number 1, intentionally murdering one's father.
Okay. Did that happen? Did that happen in the film?
Well, in number 2, intentionally murdering one's mother. You know, you could look at it, Pete, as if these 2 characters, and the title is referring to our 2 heroes, if you can call them heroes, our 2 main characters, as if they are living this eternal hell, right? As they live the life of a mole. Mm-hmm. You could say, Pete, that these 2 characters have, in a way, metaphorically had to kill their parents as they take up a false life.
And the parents being, I'm looking at this as sort of the masculine, feminine, good versus evil, like the parents of being, I have forsaken my life as doing good as a police officer. I have forsaken my life as a criminal.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. What's number 3?
Killing an arhat, or an enlightened being.
Okay. Fall from grace. His boss.
And number
Leung.
4, shedding the blood of a Buddha.
Oh,
I mean, also
who
kind
was
of.
that?
Well, it could also be his boss. It could be their cohorts. I don't know who it could be. Number 5, creating a schism within the Sangha, or the community of Buddhist monks and nuns who try to attain enlightenment or eternal happiness.
This whole movie's about that.
Yeah, it really is this schism within 2 groups who are basically trying to achieve their highest level, right?
Well, the schism is the humanity, the giant cleft in humanity that has become organized crime.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. I think there's something interesting about the way that this title plays here.
Man, once again, wordplay combining law enforcement with an adjective. So dumb. English, man, just ruins things. All right.
I like this way better.
Me too. Much, 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 much better. what else do we need to talk about on this film? Anything before we jump into Chang Kwang-wing?
Well, we should talk. No, I don't think so. I think and the super awesome song that I already brought up.
The super awesome song, the theme song, Infernal Affairs. That's why, because of adjectives.
Adjectives. Curse you.
Why do you like this song so much? And
No,
have you memorized it yet?
It's just, I'm being a little sarcastic there. It's, it strikes me as a very kind of typical song to expect from this. When I hear these sorts of songs, when I hear end credit songs in like movies, these Hong Kong films, they have this same sort of sound to them.
They don't generally live up to the films.
At least not to my ears.
Yeah. Well, in this one, have we already said that it is sung by these two guys, Andy and Tony? We talked about that already.
We talked about it being a not a duet.
It's a Cantonese and Mandarin simultaneously.
Co-performance, right?
Kendo Mando Pop.
Whoa.
Now, this film is in. There were two sequels, direct sequels.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can call them sequels. They're actually prequels.
I haven't seen them. I don't know what they are, but they have a 2 and a 3 after them. So that's where I assume a sequel.
Infernal Affairs 2. It's the prequel, and Chan has just become an undercover cop in the Triads, while Lau joins the police force. Both the Triads and the police find an enemy and a rival crime boss.
Revenge of the Triads.
So that's number 2.
Okay.
Number 3. Months after the events of the original film, Ming suspects a police superintendent as being a new mole for the Triads, while years earlier, Yan embarks on his first mission. So that one's a little bit before and after.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
But it's all the same people. It's all the same people telling the same story and within the same universe, the same timeline.
Yeah, although the second one is a prequel, the third one kind of splits across kind of being a prequel and a sequel.
All right.
I haven't seen either. Obviously, I hadn't even seen this first one. But I will say, I did enjoy this so much. I'm really curious to see how 2 and 3 play out. So I may add those to my list.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I want to see this, particularly as a part of this series. And because this was made, obviously, into Scorsese, made this into The Departed.
Which, is fantastic. But I did find it really interesting that it actually had other remakes as well.
Where and when?
In Korea, in 2009, they made a version called City of Damnation. And also there was a Telugu version in 2009 called Homan. And in 2012, Japanese TV had a version called Double Face.
Was that starring Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds. That's funny.
Oh, well. So now we need to see all of them. That's the next series, is just take Infernal Affairs and watch every single remake, reboot. That's what it's going to be.
It will be crazy.
Mm-hmm. How'd it do?
Well, this film did really well for itself. This film, Jesus.
Say it like you mean it, Andy.
Woo! This film not only did really well in awards, it did it well for itself financially. This film, it's one of those things where it just, certain types of films end up doing really well in certain markets. And this film, the Hong Kong Film Awards, it had quite a lot of nominations. Best Film, it won Best Film. Best Director, it won for the 2 directors. Best Screenplay, it won for, won for Best Screenplay. Best Actor, Tony Leung and Andy Lau was nominated. Anthony Wong won for Best Supporting Actor, and Eric Tsang and Chapman Toe were both nominated. Best Cinematography, it was nominated. Best Film Editing, it won. Best Costume Design, Action Choreography, which is a fantastic thing that they actually have as a nomination over there. It was nominated. Best Score, it was nominated. Best Original Song, it won.
Nice.
Best Sound Design and Best Visual Effects, it was nominated. So this film really, really did well. And that's just at the Hong Kong Film Awards. I mean, it pretty much did really well for itself. And, I got to say, Tony Leung, who did win, I mean, this is a guy who I think this is his 14th nomination, and it's his 7th win as either actor or supporting actor. So he's a popular guy over there.
Nice work. You can get it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And this film, I mean, while not super high on our list, it still did well for itself. From what I could find, it's a little tricky trying to convert, from Hong Kong currency to US and all that, but I think I got it. I found that its budget was about just under $6.5 million, which in today's dollars is about $8.3 million. It ended up grossing here not a lot of money in the US, about $170,000, which is pretty small. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. But internationally, it was about $8.5 million. So it did a nice chunk of change for itself internationally, considering it was just a Hong Kong film, and that's about $11 million adjusted, which ended up making it an adjusted profit per finished minute of about $30,000. So I think that's probably considered a huge win for a Hong Kong film.
Doesn't really compete on
it doesn't
our
no
spreadsheet.
It doesn't compete on our spreadsheet, but I think if we put a spreadsheet together of some of the top films from Hong Kong, it probably is doing pretty well for itself. If you look at something like Bong Joon-ho's The Host, that was also a huge success, but more in Korea than internationally. But still, as far as the film in context of their market, huge success.
I think we should probably rank it.
Let's do it.
Head over to flickchart.com, everybody, and if you haven't experienced Flickchart, it's a great place for you to go and rank your movies. It's a gut trigger, a hair trigger. What does your instinct tell you right now? Which movie do you want to watch side by side with some other random movie? You get to pick. That's what we do. We build our list. You then build your list, and you compare them, and you send us notes in class tomorrow, and we'll see how we did together. It'll be just like we're dating.
All right, Pete, first up. It's our usual Infernal Affairs or Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I got to tell you, on principle, just to get us over this hump, I'm tempted to say Infernal Affairs. I'm probably not going to, but I'm tempted.
I'm tempted as well, but I am going to pick Oh Brother.
All right.
And you are too, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it there.
I know. It's this hump that we just can't get over. Infernal Affairs or The Sandlot?
Oh, Infernal Affairs.
Yeah. Just for the looks of their eyes, man. Infernal Affairs of the Roaring Twenties.
Infernal Affairs.
Infernal Affairs. Infernal Affairs or A League of Their Own.
Infernal Affairs. There's no crying in China. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does not.
It does. Yeah. I'm doing A League of Their Own.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, one,
1, 2,
3.
Paper.
Scissors.
Oh, man.
Sorry. Infernal Affairs or Syriana? I'll do Syriana.
Yeah, I think I will too.
Infernal Affairs or The Verdict?
Oh, Infernal Affairs.
I swear, this is totally repeating last week.
I know, and it's Infernal Affairs is the answer.
I'm going to agree with you. Infernal Affairs or Field of Dreams?
Infernal Affairs.
Field of Dreams.
1,
2, 3. Rock. 1, 2, 3. Rock.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3.
Scissors.
Rock. Man. All right. Infernal. That's it. Infernal Affairs. Number 137.
Stolen.
Chart.
Stolen. From old 2x4.
You were robbed. You were robbed, man. I can't wait till we have Kevin Costner on this show. Kevin.
I think we both know how that conversation's going to go.
Pete's got a nickname for you.
Old 2x4, because you hit it out of the park every time with the wood. Oh, what does this do for our star rating? How did this end up for you over on letterboxd.com?
I think that I'm at a 4-star for this one.
I am definitely a 4-star lock on this one. This was a great movie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That makes it easy to average.
You want to write it down, or?
I like that. I like easy.
That's good. That's good. So where did we go from here after this one? We're going to be doing our next pairing.
If people couldn't figure it out already, we're going to be watching the Korean 2009 film City of Damnation.
I already have the Telugu Homan.
There you go. No, we are going to talk about Martin Scorsese's The Departed. It will be wrapping up our movies and the remake series, which was kind of fun. It was fun to kind of check out these different iterations of the same story.
Well, I'm glad you found it kind of fun, and we'll see how at the end of next week if it's still kind of fun. But this was, I think, a series that I sort of latched onto early on. I've been excited to do this, and so I think it's. I'm glad to wrap it up next week and see. Maybe we'll revisit this another time.
Yeah, I think what I like about it so much is that, we find even if one of the iterations of the story may not work as well, there's another version out there.
Thank goodness. In Telugu.
Thank goodness.
We've got another thing coming up next week.
Oh, yes.
Have you heard of this thing, filmumentaries? Have you heard of this?
I love watching filmumentaries.
Why do you like them so much?
It's kind of, I'm one of those people who really enjoys listening to directors' commentaries. I think it's really interesting to kind of get that insider's perspective. What I love about the filmumentaries is it almost takes that to a different level, where you're watching the movie, but you're getting lots of, it's kind of like pop-up video mixed with director's commentaries, mixed with documentaries about a film. And the way you kind of blend all of that together as you watch a movie, the way that it comes together when this guy who we're going to be talking to makes these filmumentaries, I kind of find magical, and I have a hard time turning them off.
I could not agree more, and that's why I am also so excited that our shorts for next week goes behind the guy behind filmumentaries, Jamie Benning. We had a fantastic conversation with Jamie, and that'll be coming out on shorts next week. So be on the lookout for that. And because it's a conversation about filmumentaries, you should go check out a filmumentary. So head over to filmumentaries.com and watch a little bit. If you've never heard of them or you've never seen what one of these are, if you have any interest in this show, you will love what Jamie does with filmumentaries. And he is so kind and cordial and really great conversation. So that's coming.
Can't wait.
There you go. I gotta go to bed.
All right, man. I'm going to head to the theater to meet up with our boss man and get the goods to track down the mole who's been working to take us down.
Amazon giveth, Andy. Amazon giveth. What's interesting is that I am choosing my Amazon review, and I also happen to have a similar thought. I'm flexible, but I had a similar thought.
More flexible than your reviewer.
Fornance Benevolent Society writes on Infernal Affairs. This is from February 23rd, 2005. If you're a martial arts fan like myself and you expect to see martial arts action in this movie, you will be very disappointed. There is 0 martial arts scenes in this movie. The plot of the movie is very good. There is a lot of suspense and drama as the moles from each side, gang, cop, attempt to uncover each other. Most of us in the States buy Hong Kong flicks for the excellent fight scenes, so I don't need to buy a Hong Kong flick for suspense and drama with no fight scenes. Movies like these are a dime a dozen in America. I think this movie is the exception and not the rule. Sorry.
Wow. Talk about someone who's really pinned his parts of the world to specific genres.
Oh my goodness. Hong Kong? Martial arts. That's all. Just a lot of people just walking down the street fighting each other.
If it's a drama, I've got enough of that at home.
You want to get some coffee? Let's fight our way down the street to get some coffee. It's awesome.
Oh,
anyhow, no, I There we go. For an Ants Benevolent Society. The plot was good, but it was still a 2-star movie because of martial arts disappointment. What is yours?
Mine is a 3-star. It says, nice cover by Epsilon Delta. I don't know if it's a sorority or fraternity or somebody who just likes Greek letters. Epsilon says, first of all, I have to say something about the cover of this DVD. The girl is never in the movie, but to attract buyer to buy this DVD, she is shown on the DVD cover. So we are having fake covers now. That's just fantastic. For the movie itself, it is about being undercovers in the police and in the gangster world. They call it the eternal hell. What does the title Infernal Affairs mean? Well, big deal. We all choose our life and live with it. Don't like it? We don't have to live like that. We have choices. No need to be an undercover and then complain that it is an eternal hell.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
From embed to mole to undercover.
Indeed. Thank you, Amazon.
It is hard to believe we have been having in-depth conversations about movies since 2011.
You are telling me. Producing this show week after week requires a ton of work behind the scenes. If you'd like to help support our efforts, one easy way is by using our originals page when shopping for books and movies that we've covered.
Just visit thenextreel.com/originals. Your purchases made through our links give us a small commission at no extra cost to you and allow us to keep having these great discussions.
Season 5 had some great adaptations, like our Meryl Streep Oscar-nominated performances series. We covered adaptations like Kramer vs. Kramer, Sophie's Choice, and The French Lieutenant's Woman.
It's a real Sophie's Choice between those books. You see what I did there?
Yeah. And I don't think it's quite at the level of a real Sophie's Choice.
We also did Snowpiercer for our Bong Joon-ho series, adapted from the French graphic novel Le Transpersonnage. Man, I love that movie.
We had our 2-part 1939 series that included adaptations like Gone with the Wind, Ninotchka, The Women, and The Hound of the Baskervilles.
A number of those 1939 movies, like Goodbye, Mr. Chips, also tied into our recent 1940 Academy Award Best Picture nominee series.
Our naughty children horror series had creepy adaptations like The Bad Seed, Village of the Damned, The Innocents, and Children of the Corn.
For our Hayao Miyazaki series, we talked about his take on Lupin III with The Castle of Cagliostro, plus his own The Wind Rises.
Some great listener choice picks too, Viridiana and The Great Escape.
And for our David Mamet Wright series, The Verdict, The Untouchables, and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Plus, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from our Shane Black series adapted from Brett Halliday's novel, Bodies Are Where You Find Them.
Dive into the sources for all of these at thenextreel.com/originals.
Every book you buy helps support the show. Check out thenextreel.com/originals today and find your next read.